Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this 10th week of the Bootcamp. 10 weeks already. It's gone really fast. And we've covered a lot of different licks, a lot of different technical exercises to hopefully encourage you to go further. This last session is basically a compilation of more interesting, more melodic challenges. There are six of them. We're going to try to combine several techniques, and also because this is the last one, the chat room is open. Well, actually, it's always open. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them, and make sure that you do ask them because this is the last one. I'll be around until something else comes up. But don't hesitate to ask questions if you have any. If you're just joining us, if this is the very first time that you're with us, this is the last one, but that's all right because you can rewatch all the previous 9 weeks. And we started back in, I can't remember when, 10 weeks ago, whenever that was. And you can rewatch all of those and download all the tabs, all the exercises that we've been going through. The format has been basically learning a particular topic, so maybe alternate picking or sweep picking or legato or rhythm elements. And we did some drills, some exercises that are really focusing on that particular technique for the week. And at the end, I gave you a challenge or an exercise, something a little longer, a little more melodic, more usable too. And that's been the format. Today, we're only having challenges, as in exercises, longer exercises. And we're just going to get started. And again, if this is your first time, welcome. Feel free to just watch this and grab your guitar. This is an interactive hour, and I want you to practice with me these different drills. So if we don't have any questions, we'll just jump in, and as we go, feel free to ask questions, and Jason will ask your question, and also you can jump in a call if you want to show me something. You're welcome to do that. And at the end, we'll hang out a little bit more. And if you have questions that are not related to the exercises we're going through, don't hesitate to discuss those things at the end. If everybody's ready, we're going to get started with exercise 1, unless we do have a question.
No questions right now, so let's just get started.
Great. So let's jump in. Exercise number 1. This is a longer exercise. Don't be scared of it. You can download the tab if you want, but we're gonna break it down and we're gonna take a look at we're gonna unlock the code. Each of these exercises, or most of them I should say, have codes and logic behind. And once you understand the logic behind it, it's easier to play the whole thing. The first thing that we're gonna do is take a look at the standard notation, which is above the tabs, and we see the groups of notes. There are 4 groupings of 4 notes. So that means on every beat, and I'm going to use my metronome app here, and you're welcome to use any metronome that you have. It doesn't have to be an app. It can be anything you want. And that means that if we have our metronome set to, for example, 70 beats per minute, on every one of these clicks, we're going to have 4 notes. Taka, 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 taka. And that happens throughout the exercise. The picking direction is indicated between the standard notation and the tab, and you can see that we're alternating 2 shapes. The first shape is a shape for the downward picking, and it looks like a reversed square cup type of thing. So down, and then the triangle is up. So we got down, up, down, up, down, up. It just alternates that throughout. So that's for the right hand. Now let's take a look at the first bar. Everything happens on a 3-note per key position, which is a G major scale. Let me show you that scale really quick. I'll just ascend the scale, and I'm going to start with the 3rd fret on the low E string, and we have frets 3, 5, 7. Same exact thing on the 5th string, 3, 5, 7. On the next string, we have 4, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7 again on the 3rd string. On the 2nd string, 5, 7, 8, and 5, 7, 8 on the 1st string. So all together, this is what we have. And I'm going to descend that. And that's a 3-note per string scale in G major. As far as the fingering goes, that's kind of important too. Each time I'm starting a new string, so the lowest note of each string is going to be played with the index. So index, 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 index. And then each finger is going to be assigned to its own frets. So if I start on fret number 3, we have 3, 4, 5, 6. If I were to play the fourth fret, it would be with the middle finger. If I were to play the 5th, with the ring. If I were to play the 6th, with the pinky. And if I were to play anything higher, I would do an extension with my pinky. And that's why the fingering for that low E string, 3, 5, 7, is index, ring, pinky. So now that we have the scale, we're going to take a look at exercise 1. And we already kind of analyzed that exercise. We unlocked a little bit of the logic behind. We know a few elements. We're going to start memorizing that. The first 4 notes start on the low E string. I'm going to play 3, 5, 7. And on the next string, 3. So I'm just ascending the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next 4 notes, I'm going to go to the next note of the scale, which is 5th string, 5th fret. And I'm going to descend 4 notes. So ascend 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the next one and descend 4. All right, so we played the first 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next 8 notes are basically ascending the 8 first notes of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's what we have on that first bar. There is a logic behind there that we're gonna discuss a little bit, because once we get that, we can assign it to any string, any position. Because we're using a 3-note per string position, that means that when you're looking at your fretboard, you have 3 types of notes. You have a left note, from my perspective, a left side note, if you look at your guitar. In that case, the low E string 3rd fret is that far left note. I have a middle note, which happens to be the 5th fret. And I have a right side note, which is the 7th. If you think of this scales in terms of left, middle, or right, it's going to facilitate that exercise. And if I name the exercise as far as left, middle, right, it'll be left, middle, right, left, middle, left, right, middle, left, middle, right, left, middle, right, left, middle. So if you have your tab in front of you, it's going to make more sense. So now that we have that, we're going to apply it to all the sets of strings. We start on the low E string, that's for the first bar. And then we'll apply the same logic on the 5th string, and that's the 2nd bar there. And then on the 4th string, and the 3rd string, and the very last note, we're going to end on that high E string, 8th fret, and it happens to be on the pinky. So that's the exercise. We're going to play that with our metronome, and we'll start at a comfortable tempo. We'll start it at 70 beats per minute. So if this is our click here, you set it to 70. On each of the clicks, in between each click, you need to have exactly 4 notes that are played in equal length. So it'll be something like dakka, 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 dakka. And if I apply that to the exercise, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to try that again. Pay attention to the right hand. Always down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That kind of helps you keep track of the subdivision and keep everything consistent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the cool thing with that scale is that it's movable. There's no open strings, and whenever there's no open strings, you can easily transpose that and start it from a different fret. And that's what we're going to do here. Instead of starting on the third fret, which is G, we can start it anywhere. We can start on the 5th fret, for example, which happens to be an A. So if I want to play this exercise that I just played in A major, I just start on A. And because we studied the logic behind the sequence, it's kind of easy to play. The fingering remains the same, the right hand remains the same. So we're going to try that. We'll try that same tempo, and then we're going to try to combine both together. This is 70 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try to combine both together. So we're going to start ascending that G major. Go all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Once we reach that last note, we're kind of in that zone here. We kind of changed zones. We started here, and we're ending here, which makes it easier to reach that 5. And we're going to start that exercise in A major. And once we reach the very top, we can start it on 7 because it falls in that area of the fretboard. I'm landing with the pinky. Naturally, my index would land on the 7. That's the position. And I can start that on the 7. And we'll see how far we can go. So we'll start on the 3rd fret, then on the 5th, then the 7th, the 9th, and so forth. So let's just give that a try. And we'll increase the tempo a little bit. We'll do 75 beats per minute. So this is our new tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. The subdivision is going to be 4 notes per beat. Starting in G, 2, which is the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. You start on the 5th now. And if you're lost, just try to keep up. If you're completely lost, just wait for the next key. It's going to be the 7th fret. Here we go. And so forth. Okay, let's challenge ourselves a little bit. We're at 75 beats per minute. We're going to try it faster. We're going to try it at 95 beats per minute. Just see what happens. Because sometimes faster doesn't necessarily mean more difficult. Not necessarily, because it's faster. That means that the reference clicks, the reference points that are audible are going to appear more often, which kind of sometimes prevents you to get lost in the tempo. So let's try that. Here's our click. The subdivision, we'll just do this on G. That's 4 notes per beat. See, it's not that fast. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So let's give that a try. 2, 3, 4. One more time. Great. So have fun with this home, download the tabs, and keep track of your tempo as you go, and give it a try next time you're improvising over a major scale backing track. And do we have any questions on this?
No questions right now, so I think we can move on.
Great. So let's try exercise number 2. Let's take a look at this one. Same key, same scale, G major. As you can see, the standard notation tells us that we have 4 notes per beat again. 2, 3, 4. And we see some string skipping in there. The direction remains the same. It's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up all the time. And we'll start by playing the 3 first notes. Skip a string to the left note. If you follow the logic, left, middle, right, left, that's that note, the 4th fret, 4th string. Then we're going to descend 4 notes starting on the 7th fret. So those first 8 notes are basically the key that unlocks the whole sequence. If we apply that, left, middle, right, skip a string left, right, middle, left, and you're going to go on the string you skipped to play the right note, that sequence is going to be repeated on the 5th string, the 4th, the 3rd, and we're going to end on, we're going to skip a string here, we're going to end on the 4th string, 5th fret, which happens to be the root, if you're in G. So here it is all together, slow. My right hand is just alternate picking everything. I'll do it one more time. 3, 4. You try to play along with me. Again, this exercise is transposable. You can start it on any fret you want. And we're going to try that with our metronome. And we'll play it at, how about 80 beats per minute. So that's our subdivision. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time, 3, 4. Okay. Let's take the logic of that lick, of that idea, and instead of ascending the scale, we're going to descend the scale. So we'll try that, okay? We're going to try to ascend it and descend it. We'll try this a little slower because I want to concentrate on the fingering. And we'll take it at 70 beats per minute. Here's our tempo and the subdivision. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to descend that. Now let's try the same thing, but we're not going to pause in between. We'll start right away. Okay. That was 70 beats per minute. So we're not really going into the speed stuff. We're trying to really synchronize both hands and understand the logic behind an idea. The speed part is easy. It just takes a while. It just takes for you to repeat that exercise many, many times, analyze both of your hands, and if you feel that there is a slowdown or maybe a lack of sync or something like that, that's what you need to work on. But the speed really comes from being patient and just repetition. The core of the work happens here where you're trying to mute all the strings that shouldn't be heard and hitting the right notes and understand the logic. So this exercise that we did, the logic behind it can be applied to any 3 note per string, just like we did with the first one. Let's, for fun, take the logic, extract the logic from that, and apply it to an imaginary scale. We're going to imagine a scale, even if it's not a very musical scale, it's going to be a good finger practice. So it needs to be a 3 note per string scale. And let's do, for example, just random scale, which it's not even a scale, it's a position because the intervals are going to change all the time. We'll start on the 7th fret, 8, and 11. And we'll repeat that across, 7, 8, 11. And we're going to try to apply the logic of the sequence we just played, which was, if I do that, apply it here, that's what we have. I'm just applying the logic. Let's try it. It's going to sound a little off, but that's okay. And we'll do this at maybe 65 beats per minute, something like this. It's always good to vary the tempos too, because your technique changes a little bit depending on the speed. So that's our subdivision. Remember the scale is 7, 8, 11. That thing. So let's try that sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds weird, but that's a very good exercise. One more time. 2, 3, 4. All right. So that's just to show you that if you have a 3 note per string scale position, you can apply that sequence to that scale or position. In this case, it was something a little atonal. Now, it doesn't have much repetition in the intervals, but you can apply it to anything you want like that. So that's the idea with all these sequences. You can expand on them pretty easily throughout the week, and one idea might lead to another, which is fundamental if you want to develop your skills like that. That was for exercise number 2 that dealt with string skipping. And so far, the 2 first exercises used 16th notes, which are 4 notes per beat. Let's speed up things a little bit with exercise number 3. This is going to have 6 notes per beat. And if we listen to the subdivision, if we're on 65 beats per minute, for example, 6 notes per beat would sound like this. That feel. Instead of 16th notes, that's 4 notes per beat. That's 6 notes per beat. That's 4 notes per beat. You really hear the difference. If 6 notes per beat is too hard to grasp, you can divide it in 2. And instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, taka, 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 you can count it as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it helps. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, taka, 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 taka. So that's what's happening here. 16th triplets, which are 6 notes per beat. You can use the same scale. Let's take a look at the first 6 notes. I am going to ascend the first 4 notes of the scale and then descend 2 notes. And that gives us 6 notes. So that happens on the first beat. The next 6 notes are basically ascending the 6 notes of the scale. And that's the logic of the sequence. Then we're just going to repeat that. Instead of starting on the low E string, we'll start on the 5th. And then the 4th, the 3rd, 2nd, and then we're going to end here on the 10th fret with a pinky. So the pinky plays 2 notes, the last 2 notes, or the last 3 notes of the scale, and then we're going to extend here on the 10th fret. So that's our sequence, and you hear the logic behind it, right? You hear that it's repeating itself. So we're going to try that with our metronome. So we'll set it at 65. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, that kind of thing. And here we go. 1, 2, alternate picking. 4. I've got this habit of reaching the vibrato on longer notes. I don't know if you have that too, but it's not mandatory. 1, 2, same thing. 3, 4. So that sequence, just like the others, can be reversed. Instead of ascending it, you can take the same logic and descend it, reverse the whole thing. So when I say reverse, instead of starting on the left note, I'm starting on the right note. So in this case, the sequence is left, middle, right, left. So if I reverse that, that would be right, middle, left, right. Like that. So we're going to try ascending that full scale and descending the full scale. Within the exercise, normally I'm ending on that 10th fret. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to skip that last note, and instead of hanging out there, I'm going to straight away descend. So do a full 360 reverse right away, straight away. Let me play it once for you at 65 beats per minute. And then we're going to decrease the tempo so that we can really all play it together. Don't want anyone left behind. That's the subdivision. 2, 3, 4. So we turn right away there. That very last note, I decided to land on, to repeat the octave, skip a string. Instead of 3, I'm on 5. But that's what we just did. And we're going to decrease that to 55 beats per minute. And the subdivision is something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight away. And again, because there is a logic behind the sequence, it kind of continuously goes, I can apply that to any 3-note per string pattern or scale or mode. It's always going to work. And I would encourage you this week to take that. We started in G major, but follow the order of the modes and check out there's tons of lessons here on JamPlay where you can check out how to use these modes and use them in order, in their order of appearance. So maybe ascend Ionian. If this is a little too complex for those who are beginning, just pretend that I'm not saying anything for a couple minutes here. That's okay. You'll check out the lessons after. But basically, if I can ascend the Ionian, the full sequence, descend the next one. Ascend the next one, and so forth. Do it in the order of the modes, and that'll create an extended lick all over the fretboard. It's a great way to go from one area of the fretboard to the next. Yes, it sounds mechanical, a little shreddy, maybe it lacks some of the melodic elements that you like, but it's a good way to tie in one area of the fretboard to the next, and I feel that often it's a good thing to have a blend of really melodic lines that you can sing and more mechanical lines like that. Those are going to help actually give your mind a rest, because it's very demanding to think of the melodic idea as you're playing it. You're singing in your head, translating directly on your instrument, whereas these ideas, even though they're faster, they are easier in a way because those are things that you practiced, and that kind of gives your mind a break until the next melodic idea comes.
We do have a question that came in here, so we'll pose that to you.
Great.
This is from Southern Cash. Since I can't duplicate that tone, would it be possible to play that clean?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yes, you can play clean. I don't have a foot switch here. I don't know if it's easy to change the tone on this or not. Maybe not.
Let me see what I can do here.
Okay.
Let's see here.
If not, I can always just play a little bit with my volume. Maybe I'll do that.
Okay, let me edit this. What do we have in here? Now, we don't actually have a distortion pedal on this, so I would have to...
Actually, Jason, I'll just use my volume and
Okay, yeah.
go a little bit lower.
Go for it.
There you go. So let's give that a try. Little slower. Or not slower, or cleaner. Here's our tempo, 55 beats per minute. I'll display the exercise ascending. This is the subdivision. If I descended that, so you absolutely can play it clean. Some people say that you should really practice everything clean. I don't think it's the best idea if when you're playing, you're always playing with distortion, if that's your style of music. Because distortion does have its difficulty to kind of mute all the strings that you don't want to hear. It's a little bit different as far as the feel. Just play with the sound, the tone that you're used to playing in your everyday life. Hope that answered your question. If we don't have any more, we'll move on to the next exercise.
None at this time. We can move on.
All right, exercise number 4. It's getting a little trickier. Nothing too crazy, but this time we're reversing the motion. Instead of ascending the scale, we're going to start descending, but then we're making a switch and we're going to continue ascending. The exercise is called, if you download the tab, you'll see it's called reversed ascent, and you can see why. We're kind of descending a little bit, and then we're ascending. So it's kind of a weird thing like that. As far as the subdivision, we're still using 16th triplets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Throughout the exercise, we're landing on a longer note there at the end, but that's the end. So we'll start at the beginning. We're going to use the same exact scale, but you'll notice that we're not starting on the lowest string 3rd fret, but we're starting on the right side note from your perspective of the 5th string. So we're going to basically descend the first 6 notes. Instead of ascending the first 6, descending them. And that's for the first 6 notes. And then we're going to ascend 3, 5, 7 and 3, 7, 5. We're reversing the thing here on the 5th string. Instead of 3, 5, 7, we're doing 3, 7, 5. So if I translate that in terms of left, middle, right, starting with the 5th string, and I will descend, I will play right, middle, left, right, middle, left. And then the next grouping of 6 is left, middle, right, middle. So altogether, for the first two beats, we have this. And the reason I'm reversing there, the reason I'm doing 3, 7, 5 instead of 3, 5, 7, is that the next group of 6 notes is going to repeat that sequence from the 4th string. And if I just ascended 3, 5, 7, I would have to do a bar here with my pinky. And we're trying to avoid playing bars because when you're playing lead, not so much with chords, but when you're playing lead and if you do a bar, there's always a chance of having 2 notes ring at the same time. That's okay with chords, but with lines that are single notes, it's gonna take out of the cleanness of your technique. So we don't want to do that. And to fix that problem, instead of having 3, 5, 7, 7 again, we have 3, 7, 5, and now we can reach that pinky here on the 4th string, 7th fret, and that would mean that we have index, pinky, ring, pinky, instead of index, ring, pinky, pinky. So that's the sequence. The first 6 notes show you the logic behind this. And then we're going to apply that same logic to the 4th string. The 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And that's the exercise. So let's play it together. We are going to use 55 beats per minute, and then it will increase gradually. That's the subdivision. 1, 2, alternate picking throughout. One more time. And again, you can transpose that. So let's try that. Instead of starting on the G major, we'll try it in B, for example, which B is on the 7th fret. And here's how that would sound. One more time. And that's the exercise. Again, home, I really encourage you to take any 3-note per string position. It doesn't have to be major, it could be minor, and apply that exercise we just did to any other positions, as long as the position fits the criteria of 3-note per string. Ready for the next one? If you are, we'll give it a try. This is exercise number 5. And exercise number 5 combines 16th triplets, so 6 notes per beat, and 16th notes, 4 notes per beat. And we actually spent a full session, I think it was session 5 maybe, I can't remember. One of the sessions has to do with switching those rhythm motifs. So go back and check that out after this session if you want to go a little further. But that's what's happening. So we have, if I just play the rhythm there, we have we're alternating 6 notes and 4 notes, and it would sound something like this. Here, this is 6 notes, and 4 notes would be like that. And if we alternate, one, two, three, four, five, six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what's happening with the right hand for the rhythm part. And everything is alternate picking. Let's take a look at the first 6 notes. We're just ascending the first 6 notes of the scale. 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. Easy so far. The next grouping is 4 notes, and we're just going to descend 4 notes of the scale. So ascend 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We land on the right side note, and then we're going to descend 4, so middle, left, right, middle. And that's the logic. Then we're going to repeat it on the 5th string. Ascend 6 notes, descend 4. On the 4th string, ascend 6, and so forth. And I'm going to finish my lick on the 4th string, 5th fret, which is the root, which is G. So this would work over a G major chord progression. So let's give that a try. Same tempo, 55 beats per minute. The fastest we'll play is 6 notes per beat. And the slowest we'll play is 4 notes per beat. Like that. So let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. So let's increase the speed here. Maybe we'll try 70 beats per minute, which would sound like this for the 16th triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's try it on the 5th fret. We'll keep increasing like that, increasing in increments of 2. So start on the 5th, then the 7th, the 9th, and so forth. 3, 4. 7th fret. 9. 11. 'Okay, if we reverse that, we're going to start on the top, the 1st string. We're going to descend 6 notes, and then ascend 4. Descend 6, ascend 4, and so forth. And it would sound something like this. And if we combine both, ascend that, once we're done ascending, we're going to descend it. Like that. So you can kind of lengthen that exercise by doing it in both ways. And there's a lot of things that you can do with that by combining that position with all the other positions all across the fretboard. Any questions on this or anything else? Feel free to interrupt anytime.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything right now. I'm keeping an eye on it. If you guys have any questions, please do post them in the chat room, and I'll record them and give them to David. But right now, I think we can move on.
Okay. Well, let's try the sixth one. The sixth one is a little tricky because there's a mind trick to it, as you'll see, because of the sequence and the logic behind that. It kind of twists around at an awkward point, but that's where we need to concentrate. We are going to alternate 16th triplets, so 6 notes per beat, and 4 notes per beat, 16th. And we'll do it in an unconventional way. We're going to start by playing 2 groupings of 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 of 6 and then 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And throughout the exercise, it's going to be like that. 2 groups of 6s, 1 group of 4. 2 groups of 6, 1, 4. But each bar is made of 4 beats in there. So that means that the logic, the rhythm logic behind it, which starts with a 6, so 6, 6, 4, 6, 6, 4, 6, 6, 4. That logic is not always going to start with the first beat of every bar, as you can see. It starts with the first beat of the first bar, and then it starts again on the 4th beat of the first bar. That's the next grouping of 6. And then it starts again on the 3rd beat of the 2nd bar, and so forth. So that's where you just have to keep thinking in terms of the logic, keep playing in rhythm, and everything's going to fall into place. So it looks like in order to understand what's going on and reproduce that in multiple scales, multiple positions, we need to memorize the first 3 groups, the first 3 groupings. The first 6 notes, which is the first group, is basically just ascending the first 6 notes of the scale. If we're in G major, it's 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7 again. Let's take a look at the next 6 notes. That's the second grouping. The second grouping starts on the 4th string. I'm going to play the left note, the right, the middle, the left, moving on to the 5th string, right, middle. So altogether, if I play the first 2 groups of 6 notes, we have this. Followed by a grouping of 4 notes. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look at these 4 notes. These 4 notes start on the 5th string. I have frets 3, 5, 7, and 4. So altogether, the first 3 groups are as follows. And then we're going to repeat that logic on the 5th string. And then the 4th, the 3rd, and we're going to end here on the 2nd string, 8th fret. Let's try that slowly. We're going to start at 60 beats per minute. The fastest we'll play is 6 notes per beat. The slowest is 4 notes per beat. And if I just play the rhythm, I'm going to play a group of 6, and a group of 4. It'll sound like this. 3, just the rhythm. And you see how it doesn't really fall on the 1. And that's the tricky part. So let's apply the notes to that, starting on the low E string 3rd fret, 3, 4. I think I landed on the wrong notes, but you get the idea. Should have landed here on the 2nd string, 8th fret. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 4. Missed the 3. And we can transpose that if we want. We can reverse it, so start with 6 notes descending. This is how it will sound like. Kind of got lost at the end, but as long as you follow the rhythm in there, the rhythm motifs, you should be good to go. So we can transpose that and start it anywhere you want. And always try to apply this to backing tracks, because without the context, it's just an exercise. These exercises are meant to be used in a real life situation, and that will trigger some new ideas too, most likely, and you can combine a lot of different sequences together. How about we challenge ourselves as far as the speed goes? We're at 60 beats per minute, and we're going to try to play that at 70 beats per minute, for example. So when determining the tempo, always ask yourself, how fast can I play without screwing it up? We'll see. That's the subdivision. 1, 2, we're in G major. 4. Descending. And there it is. Let's increase that to 75 beats per minute. And we'll see where our breaking point is, and we'll try to determine ways to overcome that. Sorry, I forgot which exercise. Exercise 6, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And how about we'll push it to 85. So the fastest is this. That's probably the breaking point. Let's say that 85 is a little too fast because it gets a little sloppy. The way to fix that is to approach it kind of like a surgeon. You're watching your technique and you're asking yourselves all the questions that you can ask yourself. For example, here I noticed that I hit a string that shouldn't have been hit with my pinky. So that means that the positioning of my right hand is a little off. So I'm going to fix that. I'm going to concentrate on that. I'm going to try to loosen my fingers a little bit so that they're not going to strike any unnecessary strings. And that's what I need to work on. So I'm going to take that and make myself exercises that are really forcing me to do that. So maybe it's a single string exercise for now. For example, the notes don't really matter. What matters is the position of the right hand. And then I'm going to try to play 2 adjacent strings. Always asking myself, is my positioning right? If the answer is yes, you're in the right direction. And do that for maybe 10 minutes, making yourself exercises that are very different from the sequence you're working on. And the break of the routine of doing that exercise is often going to unlock things. Also, taking a real break helps too. Walk away from the guitar for a few minutes, for an hour, do something different. Your mind is always kind of reinforcing what you fed it before. That's used in a lot of ways. Like often if you have a very complex problem, you go to bed asking yourself the question of the problem, like, I don't know, how do I make this item fit in there? And you go to bed with that, not trying to answer, you will wake up with the answer most of the times. That concept can work with your instrument too. Work on something challenging, ask yourself the right questions. Why is this not working? What is happening with my right hand that is always hitting that string? Just ask yourself the question before going to bed. Don't try to answer it, and you'll see that in the morning. Most likely you'll have some ideas. You'll probably dream about it, and it shouldn't keep you up. I hope not. If it does, don't sue me. But it should really work.
All right. We do have a question that's come in, David, here.
Great.
This is from Southern Cash, and he asks, does this type of speed up, slow down, so 6/6/4, 6/6/4, occur often in music?
It depends. It kind of depends. I'd say, generally speaking, no. If you're listening to kind of mainstream music, not really. But if you start getting into, and I'm talking like radio music where you hear the solos very pentatonic-like and that kind of thing. But if you're getting more into instrumental stuff, yeah, it does happen a lot more often. And it can add some very interesting twists and life to your music. So it's always a good thing to have. Also, if I don't know what kind of music you're into, but if you're listening to metal riffs and that kind of thing, it's great to incorporate those slowdowns in the sequence, like 6s, 4s, 3s, mix them up a little bit. So yeah, it happens. It's a good thing to work on too. And at this point, I went a little faster than expected, so I'm going to open this up. It doesn't have to be relevant to the exercises that we've worked on. It can be on any other sessions or anything else you're working on. I'd love to know. Theory question, technique, positioning. If I can't answer, great. If I can't, I'll try to find the answer for you.
We did just have a question come in. This is from MC Andrew. How does this 6/6/4, 6/6/4 apply to leads?
It applies, well, just like this. What we were playing, even though it was maybe out of context because there was no backing track, this was a lead section. And I would encourage you to try to apply that rhythm motif to something not as repetitive as those sequences. So let's say that our phrasing concept is going to be based on, I'll slow it down a little bit. Let's say that we're basing this on, I'll do 70 beats per minute, on a bluesy lead. So in your mind, you're thinking 6s and 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, taka, 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 taka. I'm going to try to phrase most of my thing on 6s. That doesn't mean that all the notes I'm playing are going to fall on one are going to be those 6s. I'm not going to play just. But if I had to play a note, it would fall on one of those 6s. So that's my subdivision in my mind. So I'm phrasing, thinking of in terms of 6s. But every once in a while, if I try that slow down, you'll hear how it sounds. I'm going to start with 6s. You kind of hear the slowdown in there, and that's how it applies. In your mind, in the back of your mind, you have kind of like train track going on, and you organize your notes like that. I hope that helps.
All
Always
right.
use a backing track too. But yeah.
Anything else, you guys? Any questions? We'll leave it open here for a couple minutes.
All these should really be used with a metronome too, or a backing track. Pick a backing track that inspires you, a backing track that stays in the same key so that you can try to apply these concepts. And remember that all these sequences can be recycled in any other key as long as it respects the same fingerprint, like 3 note per strings, for example. And try to make music with these ideas.
Let's see here. I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but Uechi J asks, are these boot camp exercises lessons you learned when you were learning to play?
Yeah, maybe not exactly, but yeah, some of these exercises are some of the things that I do still work on. And these boot camps are not, you shouldn't see them as essential exercises that you should absolutely know. What I would like you to get out of it, besides spending time with your instrument, is how to come up with these exercises and how to expand on them and create your own eventually. So that's really the idea behind these exercises.
David, since this is the last week of the 10-week series, why don't you cover a little bit on what you believe the next steps should be after they've gotten proficient to this level?
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I think you should get out of this a method, meaning a plan for your playing. At this point, if you followed all the 10 weeks, you should have a pretty good idea of where you were at and what prevents you to go further. You should know your limitations. From there, I would love for you to organize a personal practice session where you write down what you've got to work on. So let's say you notice that throughout these exercises, there is this problem with your pinky. Your pinky never is able to stretch further. That's good that these exercises pointed that out to you. From now on, you should write down a practice plan that really involves your pinky. Exercises, maybe start slowly with just extensions of your pinky. Maybe taking some of these exercises and really focusing on putting more pressure on the pinky, putting the pinky closer to your guitar. Just write down your practice plan. If you know that you have an hour a day to dedicate to guitar, your first hour is going to be a breakdown of similar exercises that we've done that are using that pinky, that problematic finger, or whatever it is. And at the end of your practice, at the end of your hour, where you went through all these exercises, write down the practice session for the next day. So that's the first idea I want you to get out of this boot camp, where this is now an ongoing thing. We did an hour every week. From now on, just do every day, maybe not an hour, but whatever you can dedicate to the guitar, and be focused with writing down this plan. And the second thing I want you to do is not to get stuck in exercise mode like we've been doing. Those are just drills to hopefully unleash some new ideas. Now make some music with that. Pick some backing tracks that are inspiring to you, that are in the style that you like, something that is just pleasant to you. And try to make these exercises musical by maybe changing a few notes, but take some of the key concepts and apply them to your own musical phrasing by blending them with other licks that you've learned. Maybe incorporate one of these exercises in a solo that you're memorizing from an artist that you like. Just try to really make music with these ideas now. That's kind of what I would love for you to do from now on. And anything you work on is never lost. There's so much to do, and musically, you're never going to know it all. Whatever you're working on, make it valuable for you, for your own music. That's my tip.
We do have another question that's come in here from Nasty Dog 64. Are you going to do more boot camps on these techniques?
Yeah, if there's a demand, absolutely, I would love to. There's other types of boot camps in the works. I'm not going to say anything now, but something a little different that is in the works for now. But yeah, if people like those, make sure to let us know, and I'll prepare more. If there's a particular topic you want to see covered on the site is always open to suggestions. Would love to hear what you want to learn, and I'll make sure to answer that in an upcoming session.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, we definitely have more boot camps coming. There's obviously the Strum It Up boot camp that just started yesterday with Chris Lipe. That'll be going for 10 weeks. We have a fingerstyle boot camp that's going to be starting up with Jim Deeming here in a little while. I don't want to give actual dates because obviously things do change. It is hard for people to lock down the same time 10 weeks in a row, so I don't want to give any dates, but they are coming up. And then we're planning more definitely in the end of the year and into next year as well. And we do have David working on some stuff as well. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely, we know that you guys are liking these boot camps, so we're going to continue to do them as long as you guys continue to like them and get use out of them. So if you do have suggestions or anything like that, if there's something that you want covered, just shoot us an email over to support@jamplay.com, and we'd be happy for the feedback. What can we do better? What are you liking? If there's anything that that you guys want to see, if we get enough people wanting the same stuff, obviously that pushes us in a different direction as well. So yeah, I mean, definitely lean on us from that standpoint. And we are about 7 minutes past the top of the hour here, so we're kind of done with the lesson, but if there's any more general questions or even questions about this session, definitely post it up and we'll get to those real quick.
It was a lot of fun. These 10 weeks went really fast too. So thanks for those of you who participated, asked questions. We got a few calls in the 10 weeks. That was really fun too. And if we don't have anything, we'll probably lock it up at some point, but
yeah, we'll give it a minute here. A lot of people are saying thanks for the help, David. So
thank you.
I want you to know that everybody's appreciative.
Thanks.
All right, guys, it doesn't seem like there's any more questions coming in. Looks like everybody's kind of turning out. So we're going to lock this one down and call it quits for the night. Thank you, everybody that is here, and everybody else. Even if you're not here right now, we know that you'll probably view the archive. Just want to let you know, like, we know a ton of people are using the archives as well. We can see the individual views, and that's awesome to see. So keep at it, guys. This is a lot of information, so take it in chunks, I should say, not chunks. But take it at a pace that's right for you, and just make sure that your practice is focused, and you'll get all this stuff under your fingers in no time for sure.
Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great evening. I'll see you soon.